Hello, listeners! Welcome to our channel, Learn English with Podcast. Imagine this. You're in a group, someone asks you a question in English, and suddenly your mind goes blank. You know the words, but they just won't come out. Instead, you freeze, smile awkwardly, or say nothing at all. Sound familiar? If you've ever felt this way, you're not alone. Shyness about speaking English is something almost everyone faces at some point. But why does it happen? And more importantly, how can we break free from it? Today, we're diving into those questions and giving you practical steps to speak confidently, no matter your level. Let's get started. But before we dive into today's topic, let's quickly introduce today's guests, Alan and Alice. They are here to help us in uplifting our confidence. Let's dive it.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Lisa. Today we're talking about something that affects so many of you. Why are you shy to speak English?
Let me guess. You want to speak, but the words don't come out. Or worse, you're scared someone will laugh if you make a mistake.
Oh, we've all been there. That fear of judgment is so real. You're not alone in this.
Absolutely. In fact, I remember a friend of mine who was terrified to order coffee in English. She'd rehearse her lines but freeze when it was her turn.
That's so relatable. I've seen people skip speaking altogether, even when they know the right words.
And why does this happen? It's not because you don't know English. It's usually fear. Fear of being wrong, fear of sounding funny, fear of judgment.
Or maybe you're comparing yourself to fluent speakers and thinking, I'll never sound like that.
But here's the thing. Everyone starts somewhere. Even the most confident English speakers were once beginners.
So in today's episode, we're diving deep into why this happens and, more importantly, how to overcome it.
We'll talk about real-life situations you've faced, like avoiding conversations, hesitating to speak up in meetings, or staying quiet in group chats.
And we're not just discussing the problem. Stick with us till the end, and we'll give you actionable tips to boost your confidence.
Remember, this is a safe space. No judgment, no pressure, just real talk about a real problem.
So grab a cup of coffee, relax, and let's tackle this together.
Ready? Let's get started. So, let's talk about why is speaking English so hard for so many people?
It's not because they don't know English. Most people know the basics. They can read and understand. But when it comes to speaking, they freeze.
Exactly. And why is that? Fear of making mistakes, fear of being laughed at, fear of sounding silly.
Or even fear of being judged. Like, what if my grammar is wrong? What if I use the wrong word?
Here's a real-life example. A friend of mine went to a party where everyone was speaking English. He wanted to join the conversation but just stood in the corner, silent.
I've seen that happen so many times. People just nod and smile instead of speaking up.
And it's not because they don't have something to say. It's because they're overthinking everything: grammar, pronunciation, vocabulary.
Right. They're so focused on saying everything perfectly that they end up saying nothing at all.
And that silence? It feels safe at the moment, but it actually makes the problem worse.
Totally. The more you avoid speaking, the harder it gets. You start doubting yourself even more.
And let's not forget about past experiences. Maybe someone laughed at your English before or corrected you harshly. That memory sticks.
It's like a mental block. Every time you try to speak, that fear kicks in. What if it happens again?
And here's the worst part. It's all in your head. Most people aren't judging you. They're just happy you're trying.
Exactly. But when you're shy, it feels like everyone's watching and waiting for you to mess up.
So let's be real. If you've ever avoided a conversation or stayed quiet because you were scared to speak English, you're not alone.
You're definitely not alone. Almost everyone learning a new language feels this way at some point.
And recognizing this problem is the first step. Once you know what's holding you back, you can start working on it.
Which is exactly what we'll do in the next part. Figure out why you're shy and how to fix it.
So, let's dig deeper. Why does shyness feel so overwhelming when it comes to speaking English?
A lot of it starts in your mind. It's not just about the words. It's about how you feel when you try to speak.
For example, ever replay a mistake in your head over and over again? Like, why did I say that wrong? They probably think I'm dumb.
Oh, definitely. That's called overthinking. You're stuck in a loop, and it makes you scared to try again.
And then there's self-doubt. You think, I'm not good enough, or my English isn't as good as theirs.
Yep. Comparison is another big problem. You hear someone fluent and immediately think, I'll never be like that.
Let's not forget about past experiences. Maybe someone corrected you harshly or laughed when you made a mistake.
That's so common. Even one bad experience can create a mental block. Every time you try to speak, that fear pops up again.
And here's something interesting. Your brain actually tries to protect you. It says, hey, don't speak up. Remember what happened last time?
It's like a defense mechanism. Your mind thinks silence is safer than risking embarrassment.
But that's the problem. Staying silent doesn't help. It just reinforces the fear.
Exactly. And the more you avoid speaking, the bigger the fear grows.
Another big factor? Perfectionism. You feel like if you can't say it perfectly, you shouldn't say it at all.
But let's be real. Nobody speaks perfectly all the time, not even native speakers.
True. But when you're shy, every little mistake feels massive, like everyone's judging you.
Which, by the way, is rarely true. Most people aren't even paying attention to your mistakes.
Absolutely. In fact, most people admire you for trying. But shyness tricks you into thinking the opposite.
So, what can we learn from this? Shyness isn't about your English skills. It's about what's happening in your mind.
And the good news? You can change that mindset.
Exactly. It takes time. But once you understand the psychology behind your shyness, you can start breaking free from it.
And that's what we're going to explore next. Why are we shy to speak English, and what can we do about it? Now, let's talk about those awkward moments when shyness hits the hardest.
Oh yes. First up, speaking to strangers, like at a party or meeting someone new. You know what to say, but your brain goes blank.
Or worse, you rehearse your lines, and when it's your turn, you freeze.
Exactly. And then there's group discussions. You're in a meeting and everyone's speaking English. You want to share your idea but think, what if I sound stupid?
Been there. You end up staying silent, even when you know your idea is great.
Another common one, ordering food or asking for help in public. Simple tasks become nerve-wracking.
Like at a coffee shop. What if I mispronounce something? Will they laugh?
Or you avoid it completely. Just point at the menu and nod.
And let's not forget talking to fluent speakers. You feel like they'll notice every mistake.
Oh, absolutely. You think, they'll know I'm not fluent. What if they judge me?
And here's a tricky one. Phone calls. Without body language, it feels 10 times harder to explain yourself.
That's so true. You worry about sounding unclear or not understanding the other person.
Another one. Public speaking. Whether it's a school presentation or a work meeting, speaking in front of a crowd can feel terrifying.
And even casual conversations can feel like a challenge. You're scared of saying something wrong or running out of things to say.
But here's the thing. These situations are tough for everyone learning a new language.
Exactly. You're not alone. These fears are normal and they can be overcome.
And the first step? Recognize these moments and remind yourself it's okay to feel nervous.
Because the more you face these situations, the easier they get.
Up next, we'll dive into how to tackle this shyness and build confidence. Now, let's get to the good part. How to overcome shyness and start speaking English with confidence.
First things first, stop aiming for perfection. You don't need to speak flawlessly to communicate.
Exactly. Just focus on the message, not the grammar. Your goal is to be understood, not perfect.
And here's a big tip. Practice, practice, practice. The more you speak, the less you'll worry about making mistakes.
Start small. Talk to yourself in English. Say your thoughts out loud. You'll get comfortable with your own voice in the language.
Yes, and don't be afraid of making mistakes. Mistakes are opportunities to learn. Every time you mess up, you're getting better.
Also, find a language buddy. Someone you trust who can help you practice without judging you.
That's huge. You'll feel more comfortable speaking in front of them, and it will boost your confidence.
Another great idea? Join an English group or a class. Being around others who are learning just like you helps reduce the pressure. And speaking of pressure, stop comparing yourself to others. Everyone has their own pace.
Focus on your progress, not someone else's. You're on your own unique learning journey.
One of the best ways to beat shyness? Expose yourself to English as much as possible.
Listen to podcasts, watch movies, and read books. The more you hear the language, the more confident you'll feel speaking it.
And here's a big one. Don't be afraid to fail. Every mistake is a lesson. The more you fail, the faster you'll learn.
It's all about attitude. If you approach speaking English like an adventure rather than a test, you'll enjoy the process more.
And here's something that works for me. Visualize success. Picture yourself speaking English fluently and confidently.
That's a powerful mindset shift. Instead of worrying about mistakes, imagine yourself speaking with ease.
And you know what? Become to yourself, if you make a mistake, laugh it off. It's just part of the learning process.
Yes, and celebrate your small wins. Did you speak for 5 minutes in English? That's a success.
Another tip, use positive affirmations. Tell yourself, I am improving every day, or I am confident speaking English.
It sounds cheesy, but it works. Your mindset is key to overcoming shyness.
And remember, nobody cares as much as you think. People are focused on their own conversations, not your mistakes.
Exactly. So, let go of the fear of judgment. Just speak. You'll be amazed at how much better you feel when you do.
And don't forget, consistency is key. Speak a little bit every day. It adds up, and soon you'll be a lot more comfortable.
The key is to keep pushing through that discomfort. Every time you speak, you're one step closer to fluency.
Let's wrap this up. Overcoming shyness isn't easy, but it's totally doable.
Exactly. Take it step by step. Celebrate your progress, and soon speaking English will feel natural.
And remember, don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're just part of the process.
So let's start speaking. You've got this.
Keep practicing, stay confident, and the shyness will disappear. All right, we've covered a lot today. But before we end, let's leave you with some final motivation.
Remember this. Every small step counts. Even if you feel like you're not improving fast enough, every time you speak, you're making progress.
Don't measure your success against others. Your journey is unique. Celebrate every little victory.
And don't be afraid to mess up. Mistakes are the stepping stones to success. Without them, there's no growth.
Absolutely. If you're not making mistakes, you're not trying hard enough. Embrace them.
Speaking of growth, believe in yourself. You're capable of so much more than you realize. The only barrier is your own fear.
Exactly. Push past that fear. Every time you speak, you one step closer to becoming fluent.
And remember, confidence comes with repetition. The more you speak, the more natural it will feel.
So start small. Speak to yourself, talk to your friends, try out new words, and before you know it, you'll be speaking like a pro.
One more thing. Don't rush the process. It's okay to take your time. Fluency doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen with consistent effort.
Trust the process. Every day is a chance to improve, even if it's just a little.
And be kind to yourself. You're learning a new skill, and that's something to be proud of.
So, take a deep breath, smile, and remember, you are enough. Your mistakes don't define you. Your effort does.
You've got this. Keep speaking, keep practicing, and keep believing in yourself.
And don't forget, you're not alone. Everyone feels shy at some point. The key is to keep moving forward.
So, go out there and speak. The world is waiting to hear what you have to say.
We believe in you.
Now, let's go conquer that fear of speaking English.
Thank you for listening. Keep practicing, stay confident, and remember, mistakes are part of the journey. See you next time.